I share those concerns. I'd like to add to the record, that can't come soon enough. And I hope that whatever happens on July 9, there is some effort to pay attention to what's happening to these businesses in the country. Please be careful in the cuts that you make here. I don't know that any of them are justified necessarily. I can't really tell. But cutting NIST at this time, and that chart I tried to show you that you couldn't see, the quantum competition, we need all hands on deck. This is a critical time for the United States right now. Making cuts, real quick point, the prices will come down point with respect to the impact on small businesses and retail and the like. I just want to say that, I've got a lot of small business. I'm sure there are plenty across the country who can't wait. They're really up against the wall right now. The wolf is at the door. Their businesses are at risk of being shut down.
During a recent congressional hearing, lawmakers raised strong concerns over the Biden administration's proposed budget cuts to key technology programs and the ongoing impact of tariffs on small businesses. A central focus was a $325 million proposed cut to the National Institute of Standards and Technology, NIST, which plays a crucial role in cybersecurity, AI, and quantum research. Lawmakers and tech industry groups warned that such cuts could weaken the United States' leadership in global innovation and technology standards. This is a critical time for American industry, said one member of Congress. Cutting NIST now could set us back in the global tech race.
Mr. Ivey?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I wanted to follow up, Mr. Secretary, with respect to the Chair's questions about EDA. You mentioned 80 programs with respect to, which sounded like maybe the same 80 programs you were talking about for MBDA.
Yeah, from the GAO, and I'll send you that report. You've asked for it, I will find it, and I will send it to you.
Okay, I appreciate that. Real quick point, the prices will come down point with respect to the impact on small businesses and retail and the like. I just want to say that, I've got a lot of small business. I'm sure there are plenty across the country who can't wait. They're really up against the wall right now. The wolf is at the door. Their businesses are at risk of being shut down. So the faster this resolves, the better. I know you mentioned July 9 with respect to the tariffs, and that can't come soon enough. And I hope that whatever happens on July 9, there is some effort to pay attention to what's happening to these businesses in the country. They're multinational, corporations, they'll survive, but smaller businesses that are really, struggling to make ends meet, they don't have that luxury. They don't have that kind of margin. Real quick on NIST, and you heard him, I think, from both sides of the aisle with respect to the need for a budget that gives more detail. And actually, I just saw you testified. I think you said you're reviewing all 5,700 contracts that, I don't think it was FEMA, but it was NOAA. And you said you're reviewing all of them. And so someone who's gonna...
All above $100,000.
Yeah, okay. Someone who pays that level of attention to detail when you were a CEO, I'm sure that you demanded something better than the skinny budget when you were making corporate decisions for your business. You had to. And I know that when you go through these contracts in the way that you are, that's the attention to detail that we want to actually provide in our roles here in Congress and in functioning and carrying out our aspect of the appropriations process. So please give us that level of information so we can do our job carefully and closely too. And then real quick point with respect to NIST, again, in the skinny budget, there's a $325 million reduction under that category. I don't really know where the money's coming from, but NIST is a critical agency, as you know, with respect to cyber and quantum and the like. You got a letter from, I guess, in concern about this, Software and Information Industry Association, CCIA, ITIF, Center for Data Innovation, a bunch of private industry leaders, TechNet, raising questions about where these cuts are going to come from and what's being done with them. The work done at NIST is not just a matter of maintaining technical excellence, it's a direct investment in ensuring that American industry continues to set the global benchmark for innovation.
The conversation also addressed the challenges small businesses face amid high costs and trade tariffs. The member emphasized that while large corporations can absorb delays, many small businesses are struggling to survive and need immediate relief, not months from now. Commerce Secretary Gina Raimondo assured the committee that funding for AI and quantum programs would remain intact and that any reallocations would come from outdated or inefficient programs. However, lawmakers pressed for more detailed budget information and warned against undermining high-impact agencies like NIST or programs that support small businesses. As the budget process continues, the exchange highlights growing concern in Congress over how best to balance fiscal discipline with strategic investment in the U.S. economy and technological future.
And we emphasize that NIST work represents a high-value investment that directly contributes to U.S. economic growth, competitiveness, and technological leadership. We caution that downsizing NIST or eliminating these initiatives will have ramifications for the ability of the American AI industry to continue to lead globally. So I share those concerns. I'd like to add to the record this article, Eric Geller, NIST loses key cyber experts and standards and research. For the record, NIST is playing a critical role in our competition with respect to AI for quantum across the board. I don't know what cuts you're talking about making with respect to them because of the level of or lack of detail with respect to the budget. But please be careful in the cuts that you make here. I don't know that any of them are justified necessarily. I can't really tell. But cutting NIST at this time, and that chart I tried to show you that you couldn't see, the quantum competition, we need all hands on deck. This is a critical time for the United States right now. Making cuts to those industries or to those aspects of the government, they're such key players with respect to the industries. This couldn't be a worse time to do it. So I appreciate your leadership on this and hope that you will continue to make sure that the United States can take a leadership role in these industries.
We are not cutting in quantum. We are not cutting in AI, but there are old programs that need to be re-examined and that money can be used better. And the last thing I would say is we keep talking about small businesses. 90% of our businesses are American businesses, and we keep talking about 10% that import. If you build in America, you're being protected by the tariffs. It's good for small business in America that build in America. 90% of them build in America.
Not all businesses build in America, as you just heard from
90%.
Time of the gentleman has expired.